Question 1. Topic: Property division in divorce. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges arise from asset division in a contentious divorce case, the court must determine whether an investment portfolio acquired during the marriage should be classified as marital or separate property. The husband claims that the portfolio should be considered separate property because it was funded with money he had before the marriage. However, the wife argues she contributed to the growth of the investments by managing them actively. Which of the following best reflects the legal principles that the court will apply in determining the classification of the investment portfolio? A. The investment portfolio is separate property because it was originally funded with premarital assets, regardless of the wife's involvement. B. The investment portfolio is marital property because it was actively managed during the marriage and any appreciation is considered marital property. C. The investment portfolio is separate property unless there is clear evidence that the wife's active management significantly increased its value. D. The investment portfolio is automatically divided equally between the spouses as all assets acquired during the marriage are presumed to be marital property. Answer: C. The investment portfolio is separate property unless there is clear evidence that the wife's active management significantly increased its value. Explanation: Property division in divorce is governed by equitable distribution or community property principles depending on the state. In equitable distribution states, courts classify property as either marital or separate. Assets acquired before the marriage are generally considered separate property, but if the asset appreciates due to active efforts by either spouse during the marriage, the increase in value may be classified as marital property. Option is incorrect because simply being funded with premarital assets does not automatically maintain the portfolio's classification as separate property if active management by a spouse contributed to its growth. Option B is incorrect because only the portion of the appreciation directly tied to the spouse's efforts is subject to division, not necessarily the entire investment portfolio. Option D is incorrect because while some states follow community property rules, not all states require an equal split of marital assets. The correct answer, C, aligns with the principle that passive appreciation, such as market gains, usually remains separate, but active appreciation due to spouses' efforts can be classified as marital property. Courts consider factors such as financial contributions, managerial efforts, and expert testimony, making this determination. Question 2. Topic: Child custody and parenting plans during a major transformation where existing methods of determining child custody are under scrutiny. A father petitions for sole custody of his 8-year-old daughter, arguing that the mother's new job requires extensive travel and limits her availability. The mother, in response, asserts that the father's petition is a strategic move to alienate the child from her. The court must apply the best in of the child standard to resolve the dispute. Which of the following is most likely to influence the court's custody determination? A. The father's ability to provide more stable, consistent routine for the child even if the mother is financially better off. B. The mother's financial advantage as higher income ensures better educational and extracurricular opportunities for the child. C. The father's claim of parental alienation regardless of supporting evidence because courts prioritize avoiding conflict. D. The mother's travel schedule as long as she arranges childcare is irrelevant in determining custody. Answer A. The father's ability to provide more stable, consistent routine for the child even if the mother is financially better off. Explanation: Custody decisions are based on the best interest of the child standard, which courts use to evaluate various factors including stability and continuity of care, each parent's ability to meet the child's emotional and physical needs, the child's relationship with each parent, any evidence of parental alienation or bad faith actions. Option B is incorrect because financial status alone does not determine custody. Courts prioritize child stability over financial advantage. Option C is incorrect because allegations of parental alienation must be supported by evidence, e.g., psychological evaluations or expert testimony. Option D is incorrect because parents' work schedule can impact custody decisions if it significantly reduces availability to care for the child. The correct answer, A, aligns with case law principles where routine and stability are often weighed heavily in custody disputes, particularly for young children. If the father can demonstrate that his custody would result in more predictable and structured upbringing, the court is likely to favor his petition even if the has greater financial resources. Question 3. Topic: Domestic violence and protective orders in a case where multiple parties have different objectives regarding A protective order: a woman files for an emergency restraining order against her estranged spouse, citing a pattern of emotional abuse, financial control, and intimidation. The spouse argues that there has been no physical violence and that the restraining order is being used as a tactical advantage in their divorce proceedings. The court must decide whether to grant the order based on applicable domestic violence statutes. Under most legal frameworks, what is the key factor in determining whether the restraining order should be granted? A. Whether the petitioner can prove a history of physical violence, as courts prioritize tangible evidence of harm. B. Whether the petitioner can demonstrate a credible threat of harm, including emotional and financial abuse, that justifies protection. C. Whether the respondent can provide a counter-argument that the allegations are part of a legal strategy in the divorce case. D. Whether law enforcement has previously intervened in the conflict. Only documented police reports are considered strong evidence. Answer: B. Whether the petitioner can demonstrate a credible threat of harm, including emotional and financial abuse, that justifies protection. Explanation: most domestic violence statutes recognize a broad range of abusive behaviors, including physical abuse, emotional abuse, intimidation, threats, psychological coercion, economic control, restricting financial access to forced dependency, stalking, and harassment. Courts evaluate whether the petitioner has a reasonable fear for their safety, even in the absence of physical violence. Option is incorrect because many jurisdictions do not require physical harm to grant a restraining order. Credible threats or coercive control can be sufficient. Option C is incorrect because respondents claim that the order is legal tactic does not override credible evidence of abuse. Option D is incorrect because while law enforcement records can strengthen case, they are not mandatory for granting protective order. The correct answer, B, reflects the legal trend in many jurisdictions that emotional and financial abuse can constitute domestic violence, warranting legal protection. Courts will often look at text messages, emails, witness testimony, and behavioral patterns to assess whether the petitioner is at risk. Question 4. During a major transformation where existing methods, a married couple, Alice and Robert, have decided to dissolve their marriage. Robert, a high-earning investment banker, argues that Alice, a stay-at-home parent for 15 years, should receive no spousal support because she has the capacity to work. Alice, however, argues that she sacrificed her career to raise their children and now lacks the skills to find comparable employment. The court must determine an appropriate spousal support award. Given the legal principles surrounding alimony, which of the following is the most legally justified decision? A. Alice is not entitled to any spousal support because she is physically capable of finding a job. B. Alice should receive temporary rehabilitative alimony to allow her time to gain skills and re-enter the workforce. C. Alice should receive permanent alimony given that Robert's income remains significantly higher. D. Alimony should be denied unless Alice can prove she is completely unable to work due to medical disability. Answer: B. Alice should receive temporary rehabilitative alimony to allow her time to gain skills and re-enter the workforce. Explanation: spousal support, or alimony, is determined based on factors such as the length of the marriage, the earning capacity of each spouse, sacrifices made during the marriage, and the recipient's ability to become self-sufficient. Most jurisdictions prefer rehabilitative alimony, which is designed to support low-earning spouse while gain skills or education to re-enter the workforce. A. Incorrect. Alimony is not based solely on physical ability to work. It considers financial disparity and sacrifices made during the marriage. B. Correct. Courts often award rehabilitative alimony in cases where one spouse left the workforce for an extended period. This is aligned with most state laws that favor temporary over permanent support. C. Incorrect. Permanent alimony is rare and usually granted in long-term marriages where the spouse is elderly or disabled. D. Incorrect. Alimony does not require proof of medical disability but rather financial need and the ability to become self-sufficient. Relevant law: Uniform Marriage and Divorce Act UMDA SS 308 outlines alimony considerations, including the standard of living, duration of the marriage, and financial need. Question 5. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in Emily and Mark have 2 children and share joint legal custody. Emily, the custodial parent, wants to relocate to another state for a new job opportunity, but Mark opposes the move, arguing that it will disrupt his relationship with the children. Emily argues that the relocation will provide a better standard of living for the children. Based on child custody laws, what is the most legally sound decision in this case? A. Emily may relocate freely because she has primary physical custody and does not need Mark's approval. B. The court should evaluate the best interests of the child before approving or denying the relocation. C. Mark has the right to veto the relocation since he shares joint legal custody. D. Emily's relocation request must be denied because it interferes with Mark's parental rights. Answer: B. The court should evaluate the best interests of the child before approving or denying the relocation. Explanation: parental relocation cases are typically decided using the best interests of the child as standard, which includes factors such as the child's relationship with both parents, the potential benefits of the move, and how it will impact parenting time. A. Incorrect. Even if Emily has primary physical custody, courts do not allow unrestricted relocation without considering the child's welfare. B. Correct. Courts assess relocation cases using multiple factors, including the child's stability, parental relationships, and educational opportunities. Many jurisdictions follow the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act (UCJIA). C. Incorrect. Mark does not have absolute power. He can object, but the court makes the final decision. D. Incorrect. The court does not automatically deny relocation. It balances both parental rights and the child's best interests. Relevant law: Trippier v. Trippier, 1996, set the standard that each relocation case must be determined on its own merits without automatic rulings. Question 6. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, Sophia and Daniel are not married but have a 5-year-old child. Daniel has been inconsistent in his financial support and only occasionally visits the child. Sophia is now filing a legal petition to establish paternity and seek formal child support. Daniel, however, claims that because he has no established legal rights, he has no financial responsibility based paternity and child support laws, which is the most appropriate ruling. A. Since Daniel is not legally recognized as the father, he is not required to pay child support. B. Daniel must undergo DNA testing to confirm paternity, and if confirmed, he will have financial obligations. C. Sophia can only request child support if Daniel voluntarily acknowledges paternity. D. Since Sophia had the child outside of marriage, she cannot enforce child support laws. Answer: B. Daniel must undergo DNA testing to confirm paternity, and if confirmed, he will have financial obligations. Explanation: under paternity laws, child support obligations exist regardless of whether the parents were married. Courts often require DNA testing if paternity is disputed. Once established, the father must provide financial support under state child support guidelines. A. Incorrect. Paternity can be established through DNA testing or court orders, making Daniel legally responsible. B. Correct. Courts follow laws like the Uniform Parentage Act (UPA), which allows paternity to be established through genetic testing or legal acknowledgement. C. Incorrect. Voluntary acknowledgement is one method, but not the only way to establish paternity. Courts can intervene. D. Incorrect. Child support laws apply, regardless of marital status. Relevant law: Uniform Parentage Act (UPA) SS 201, which ensures financial responsibility for biological parents. Question 7. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional failures in enforcing child custody agreements across state lines, how can courts ensure compliance with custody orders? A. By relying solely on the custodial parent's petition for enforcement. B. Through the application of the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act (UCJIA). C. By allowing each state to independently determine custody without interstate cooperation. D. By requiring all custody disputes to be resolved at the federal level. Answer: B. Through the application of the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act (UCJIA). Explanation: the UCJIA is a uniform law adopted by most states to ensure that child custody determinations are enforced across state lines. It establishes clear jurisdictional rules and mechanisms for enforcing custody orders issued in another state. Option is incorrect because enforcement does not solely depend on a custodial parent's request. Option C is incorrect as it would lead to conflicting custody decisions across states. Option D is incorrect because child custody matters are traditionally handled at the state level, not the federal level. Question 8. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in high-conflict divorce cases, courts often struggle with parental alienation. What legal remedies are available to address this issue? A. The court can modify custody to place the child with the non-alienating parent. B. The court can only issue a warning without modifying custody. C. The court can refuse to enforce visitation rights until the child turns 18. D. The court has no authority to intervene in cases of parental alienation. Answer A. The court can modify custody to place the child with the non-alienating parent. Explanation. Parental alienation occurs when one parent manipulates the child to reject the other parent without valid justification. Courts may intervene by modifying custody arrangements in the best interest of the child, often transferring custody to the non-alienating parent. Option B is incorrect because warnings alone are often ineffective in severe cases. Option C is incorrect as it would unfairly punish the child and the alienated parent. Option D is incorrect because courts have both the legal authority and responsibility to act when parental alienation is evident. Question 9. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted by domestic violence claims, how can courts ensure the immediate safety of victims while upholding due process rights for the accused? A. By immediately granting temporary protective orders and scheduling a full hearing. B. By requiring victims to present full evidence before granting any protection. C. By automatically terminating parental rights of the accused. D. By treating all allegations as civil matters without criminal consequences. Answer A. By immediately granting temporary protective orders and scheduling a full hearing. Explanation. Courts often issue temporary protective orders, TPOS, based on initial evidence to protect victims from immediate harm. A full hearing is then scheduled to allow both parties to present their case, ensuring due process. Option B is incorrect because requiring full evidence before any protection could put victims at risk. Option C is incorrect as termination of parental rights requires extensive legal proceedings. Option D is incorrect because domestic violence can have both civil and criminal consequences. Question 10. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges exist in enforcing child support orders, what mechanisms are most effective in ensuring compliance? A. Wage garnishment, license suspension, and contempt proceedings. B. Only relying on voluntary compliance by the non-custodial parent. C. Imprisoning any non-custodial parent who misses a single payment. D. Waiting until the child reaches adulthood to assess unpaid child support. Answer A. Wage garnishment, license suspension, and contempt proceedings. Explanation. To enforce child support, courts can order wage garnishment, suspend professional or driver's licenses, and hold non-compliant parents in contempt of court, potentially leading to fines or jail time. Option B is incorrect as voluntary compliance is not always reliable. Option C is incorrect because incarceration for single missed payment is not proportional and could hinder the parent's ability to pay. Option D is incorrect because child support enforcement should be ongoing, not delayed until adulthood. Question 11. While investigating a complicated issue between different jurisdictions regarding spousal support, what factors influence the modification of alimony orders? A. A significant change in either party's income or financial needs. B. The pair's voluntary decision to quit their job. C. The pair's remarriage or cohabitation with new partner. D. Both and C. Answer D. Both A and C. Explanation. Courts consider substantial changes in income or financial circumstances when modifying spousal support. Additionally, if the receiving spouse remarries or cohabitates, alimony may be reduced or terminated. Option B is incorrect because voluntary unemployment does not justify a reduction. Option C alone is not sufficient unless it significantly impacts financial need. Question 12. During the introduction of new methods where coordination between family law courts and mediation services is emphasized, what is the primary benefit of mediation in family law cases? A. It allows parties to reach agreements without court intervention. B. It is mandatory in all family law cases, replacing court proceedings. C. It guarantees that both parties will fully cooperate. D. It eliminates the need for attorneys in family law matters. Answer A. It allows parties to reach agreements without court intervention. Explanation. Mediation helps families resolve disputes amicably without court litigation, reducing costs and emotional stress. Option B is incorrect because mediation is not mandatory in all cases. Option C is incorrect as mediation depends on voluntary participation. Option D is incorrect because attorneys can still play a role in mediation. Question 13. When scaling up operations that experience significant demand for adoption services, what legal requirements must agencies follow to ensure ethical adoptions? A. Conduct thorough background checks on prospective adoptive parents. B. Prioritize financial contributions from adoptive parents over suitability. C. Allow biological parents to revoke consent at any time, even after finalization. D. Automatically place children with wealthier families. Answer A. Conduct thorough background checks on prospective adoptive parents. Explanation. Adoption agencies must conduct rigorous background checks to ensure a child's safety. Option B is incorrect as financial contributions should not determine eligibility. Option C is incorrect because consent revocation is subject to legal time limits. Option D is incorrect as courts prioritize the best interest of the child, not financial status. Question 14. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with the practical realities of cohabitation agreements, what is the best approach for courts to take? A. Enforce only written agreements disregarding verbal or implied agreements. B. Consider both written and implied agreements based on conduct and intent. C. Automatically grant property rights to both partners. D. Treat cohabitation agreements as legally void. Correct answer. B. Consider both written and implied agreements based on conduct and intent. Explanation. Courts recognize both express and implied agreements in cohabitation cases, especially if evidence suggests financial interdependence. Option is incorrect because implied contracts may still be enforceable. Option C is incorrect as automatic property rights do not exist without proof of an agreement. Option D is incorrect because cohabitation agreements can be legally binding. Question 15. While updating traditional approaches where interconnections between domestic violence and child custody are being reconsidered, what should courts prioritize? A. The best interest of the child, including safety from domestic violence. B. The parent's financial stability over any abuse allegations. C. Equal custody rights regardless of abuse history. D. Automatic termination of parental rights in all domestic violence cases. Answer A. The best interest of the child, including safety from domestic violence. Explanation. Courts prioritize the child's best interest, ensuring safety in cases of domestic violence. Option B is incorrect because financial stability does not outweigh abuse concerns. Option C is incorrect as abuse history must be considered. Option D is incorrect since parental rights termination requires due process. Question 16. While analyzing the consequences of failing to comply with child support orders, what are the potential legal repercussions for the non-custodial parent? A. Wage garnishment, license suspension, and possible incarceration. B. Immediate termination of parental rights without a hearing. C. Automatic transfer of custody to the custodial parent's new spouse. D. Exemption from payment if the parent moves out of state. Answer A. Wage garnishment, license suspension, and possible incarceration. Explanation. Non-payment of child support can lead to enforcement actions, including wage garnishment, driver's or professional license suspension, and contempt proceedings, which could result in jail time. Option B is incorrect because parental rights cannot be terminated without due process. Option C is incorrect as new spouse has no automatic claim to custody. Option D is incorrect because child support obligations remain enforceable across state lines. Question 17. When scaling up operations that involve shared parenting responsibilities, what factors should courts consider when determining joint custody arrangements? A. The ability of parents to cooperate and communicate effectively. B. Automatically granting equal parenting time regardless of circumstances. C. Awarding custody based on financial contributions alone. D. Assigning sole custody to the parent who files first. Answer A. The ability of parents to cooperate and communicate effectively. Explanation. Joint custody decisions prioritize the child's best interest, requiring effective parental communication to ensure a stable co-parenting environment. Option B is incorrect because joint custody must consider parental fitness and child welfare. Option C is incorrect as financial contributions alone do not determine custody. Option D is incorrect because courts do not grant custody based on filing order. Question 18. During an emergency response where a domestic violence survivor requests immediate legal protection, what legal remedies are available? A. The court can issue an emergency protective order (EPO) without prior notice to the abuser. B. The survivor must wait until a full hearing before any protection is granted. C. The abuser's parental rights are permanently revoked without trial. D. The survivor must provide video evidence of the abuse before obtaining legal protection. Answer A. The court can issue an emergency protective order (EPO) without prior notice to the abuser. Explanation. Courts can issue emergency protective orders, EPOs ex parte, without notifying the accused to protect survivors from immediate harm. Option B is incorrect because waiting for a full hearing could endanger the victim. Option C is incorrect as permanent parental rights revocation requires legal proceedings. Option D is incorrect because victims are not required to present video evidence to obtain protection. Question 19. When dealing with a complex system that involves international child custody disputes, how does the Hague Convention on the Civil Aspects of International Child Abduction apply? A. It requires the immediate return of children wrongfully removed from their country of habitual residence. B. It allows each country to make independent custody decisions without international cooperation. C. It grants automatic custody to the parent who has physical possession of the child. D. It applies only if both parents are citizens of the same country. Answer A. It requires the immediate return of children wrongfully removed from their country of habitual residence. Explanation. The Hague Convention ensures that children abducted across international borders are returned to their habitual residence, preventing parental kidnapping. Option B is incorrect as the treaty fosters international cooperation. Option C is incorrect because custody is not determined by physical possession. Option D is incorrect as the convention applies regardless of parental citizenship. Question 20. While updating traditional approaches where mediation is used in family law cases, what are the primary advantages of mediation over litigation? A. It is often less adversarial and more cost-effective. B. It eliminates the need for any court involvement. C. It automatically leads to a legally binding agreement. D. It requires both parties to fully agree on all issues before mediation can begin. Answer A. It is often less adversarial and more cost-effective. Explanation. Mediation is a less confrontational and more cost-effective alternative to litigation, encouraging cooperation. Option B is incorrect because courts may still be involved if mediation fails. Option C is incorrect because mediated agreements must be approved by a judge to be enforceable. Option D is incorrect because mediation can help resolve disputes even when parties disagree. Question 21. When investigating a complicated issue regarding prenuptial agreements, under what circumstances might a court declare a prenup invalid? A. If it was signed under coercion or without full financial disclosure. B. If one party decides they no longer want to abide by it. C. If the wealthier spouse finds the terms unfavorable after marriage. D. If the agreement was signed without a witness. Answer A. If it was signed under coercion or without full financial disclosure. Explanation. Prenuptial agreements must be voluntary and based on full financial disclosure to be valid. Option B is incorrect because a party cannot unilaterally revoke a prenup. Option C is incorrect as unfairness alone does not void a prenup. Option D is incorrect since most states do not require a witness for prenuptial agreements. Question 22. During the introduction of new methods where courts prioritize the child's best interests, what factors do courts consider in determining child custody? A. The child's well-being, parental fitness, and stability of home environment. B. The parent's ability to financially support luxury expenses for the child. C. The parent's popularity within their extended family. D. The first parent to file for custody automatically receives full custody. Answer A. The child's well-being, parental fitness, and stability of home environment. Explanation. Custody determinations focus on the child's best interests, evaluating parental stability, fitness, and emotional bond. Option B is incorrect because child custody is not based on luxury expenses. Option C is incorrect because extended family opinions do not determine custody. Option D is incorrect as filing first does not guarantee custody. Question 23. When dealing with a challenging situation where a parent refuses to comply with court-ordered visitation, what enforcement options are available? A. Contempt of court proceedings, fines, and possible modifications to custody orders. B. Automatic reversal of custody in favor of the non-offending parent. C. Permanent termination of parental rights. D. Ignoring the issue as visitation disputes are considered personal matters. Answer A. Contempt of court proceedings, fines, and possible modifications to custody orders. Explanation. Courts can enforce visitation orders by holding non-compliant parents in contempt, imposing fines, or modifying custody. Option B is incorrect because custody reversal is not automatic. Option C is incorrect as parental rights termination requires severe circumstances. Option D is incorrect because visitation is a legally enforceable right. Question 24. While analyzing the long-term financial impact of divorce settlements, how do courts typically divide marital assets in equitable distribution states? A. Based on fairness, considering contributions and financial needs. B. By automatically splitting assets 50-50. C. By awarding all assets to the high-earning spouse. D. By giving each spouse only what they brought into the marriage. Answer A. Based on fairness, considering contributions and financial needs. Explanation. Equitable distribution does not require a 50-50 split, but rather fair division based on factors like contributions, future needs, and financial circumstances. Option B is incorrect, as equal division is not always required. Option C is incorrect because both spouses have rights to marital assets. Option D is incorrect because assets acquired during marriage are typically shared. Question 25. While analyzing the implications of spousal support agreements, what key factors do courts consider when determining alimony payments? A. The length of the marriage, financial need, and earning capacity of both spouses. B. The personal feelings of the judge towards each spouse. C. The spouse who files for divorce automatically waives their right to alimony. D. The number of vacations the couple took during their marriage. Answer A. The length of the marriage, financial need, and earning capacity of both spouses. Explanation. Courts assess multiple factors when determining spousal support, including the duration of the marriage, each spouse's financial situation, and ability to earn income. Option B is incorrect because judicial decisions must be based on law, not personal bias. Option C is incorrect because filing for divorce does not waive alimony rights. Option D is incorrect as vacations are not determining factor in spousal support. Question 26. When dealing with a complex legal situation where a step-parent wants to adopt their stepchild, what legal requirements must typically be met? A. The non-custodial parent must consent or have their parental rights terminated. B. The step-parent automatically gains parental rights upon marriage. C. The child must be over the age of 18 to consent to the adoption. D. The biological parents must remain co-legal guardians even after the adoption. Answer A. The non-custodial parent must consent or have their parental rights terminated. Explanation. For a step-parent adoption to occur, the non-custodial parent must consent or have their parental rights legally terminated. Option B is incorrect because marriage alone does not grant parental rights. Option C is incorrect as minor children can be adopted without turning 18. Option D is incorrect because adoption replaces the legal parental relationship. Question 27. During an emergency situation where a child is at risk due to parental neglect, what immediate legal actions can Child Protective Services take? A. Remove the child from the home and seek a court order for protective custody. B. Automatically place the child with another family member without court approval. C. Permanently terminate parental rights without due process. D. Require the child to remain in the home until a full investigation is complete. Answer A. Remove the child from the home and seek a court order for protective custody. Explanation. Child Protective Services (CPS) has the authority to remove a child from an unsafe home and petition the court for protective custody. Option B is incorrect as placement decisions require legal authorization. Option C is incorrect because parental rights termination requires court proceedings. Option D is incorrect because immediate action can be taken if a child is in danger. Question 20. When investigating a challenging case involving false allegations of child abuse in a custody battle, what are the potential legal consequences for the accusing parent? A. Loss of custody, legal sanctions, or criminal charges for making false claims. Automatic dismissal of all custody claims by both parents. C. Immediate termination of parental rights for both parties. D. The court ignores the false allegations if they are later retracted. Answer A. Loss of custody, legal sanctions, or criminal charges for making false claims. Explanation. Courts take false allegations of abuse very seriously and may impose custody restrictions, legal penalties, or even criminal charges on the accusing parent. Option B is incorrect as custody is still determined based on the child's best interests. Option C is incorrect because parental rights are not automatically terminated for both parents. Option D is incorrect since retracted false claims can still have legal consequences. Question 29. While updating legal strategies regarding relocation requests in custody cases, what must a parent prove to the court before moving a child out of state? A. That the relocation is in the child's best interests and does not harm the relationship with the other parent. B. That the move benefits the parent financially regardless of the child's needs. C. That the child has no preference in where they live. D. That the move is permanent and irreversible. Answer A. That the relocation is in the child's best interests and does not harm the relationship with the other parent. Explanation. When custodial parent seeks to relocate, they must demonstrate that the move benefits the child and does not unduly disrupt the other parent's relationship. Option B is incorrect because parental financial benefit alone is not sufficient reason. Option C is incorrect since the child's preferences may be considered in some cases. Option D is incorrect because relocations can be reassessed later. Question 30. During a critical evaluation of the division of parental responsibilities, how do courts determine which parent has decision-making authority in joint custody cases? A. By assessing each parent's ability to cooperate, communicate, and act in the child's best interest. B. By giving full decision-making power to the parent with higher income. C. By awarding sole authority to the parent who lives closer to the child's school. D. By requiring the child to choose which parent makes decisions for them. Answer A. By assessing each parent's ability to cooperate, communicate, and act in the child's best interest. Explanation. In joint custody cases, courts prioritize parental cooperation and the ability to act in the child's best interests when determining decision-making authority. Option B is incorrect as income alone does not dictate decision-making power. Option C is incorrect since school proximity is only one of many factors. Option D is incorrect because courts do not solely rely on child's choice.